Welcome, everyone! So today, we're going to move beyond the textbook and really tackle a skill that is, and I'm not exaggerating here, absolutely crucial for anyone who is serious about communicating effectively in the Chinese-speaking world. It's not just about what you say, but so much more about how you say it. We are going to deconstruct the art, and yes, the science, of giving constructive feedback in Mandarin Chinese. This is a skill that can truly make or break your personal and professional relationships.
All right, so here's our roadmap for today's lecture. We're going to start by establishing our core topic, and then we'll dive right into a linguistic deep dive with some key vocabulary. This is going to give us the tools we need before we explore a real cornerstone of Chinese culture, the concept of face or mianzi. Once we understand the why behind it all, we can then move on to the how with a really practical framework. And finally, we'll zoom out and see how this skill applies far, far beyond our classroom. Let's get started.
Now, this sentence, probably from your syllabus, it might seem pretty straightforward, right? But I want you to look closer. These words, constructive feedback, improvement, support, they carry a totally different weight, a different set of expectations in a Chinese context. So the challenge for us today is to really unpack these layers of meaning. How do we navigate this incredibly delicate balance of being helpful without causing offense? Well, let's find out. To truly understand this, we have to go right to the source, the characters themselves. Simply translating a word like suggestion just isn't enough, because a Chinese character is like a story in miniature. It contains history, it contains philosophy, a whole worldview. So let's begin by deconstructing the word for suggestion.
The word for suggestion is 建议. Now, let's really look at the characters. The first one, 建, means to build or to construct. The second, 议, means to discuss. So a 建议isn't just an idea you kind of throw out there. It is quite literally a constructive discussion. Just think about that for a moment. How does that change your whole perception of giving feedback? See, it's not a monologue. It's a dialogue. You are building a conversation together. This implies a collaborative process, not some top-down critique. And that sets a completely different tone from the very beginning.
Next up, to improve, which is 提高. And again, the story is right there in the characters. Ti means to lift, and gal means high. So to improve is to lift high. You are literally helping someone elevate their skills. Now let's talk pronunciation, because this is where a lot of students stumble. The first character, ti, is a rising second tone. A lot of English speakers pronounce it with a flat first tone, like ti gal. Can you hear the difference? It's not ti gal, it's ti gal. That upward lift isn't just a sound, it is part of the word's meaning. Come on, let's all try it. Ti gal. Nice. And finally, to support, 支持. The first character, 支, can mean a branch. The second one, 持, means to hold or to sustain. And together, they create this incredibly vivid image. I want you to imagine a young tree in a storm. You are the stake that props it up, holding it steady so it doesn't break. That is what 支持 means. It's an active, stable, and foundational kind of support. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so we have our building blocks. Building a discussion, lifting high, and holding steady. But if you just string them together, like, my suggestion is to improve your pronunciation, and I support you, you might find your feedback falls flat, or, even worse, causes real offense. But why? Why does an approach that seems perfectly normal in English fail so spectacularly in a Chinese context? Well, the answer is a concept that underpins almost every single social interaction: face. This is mianzi, and I want you to think of it as a form of social currency, but one that is way more valuable than money. You can make deposits into someone's account by giving them face, or you can make withdrawals by causing them to lose face. And if you bankrupt someone's account, especially in public, you may never, ever recover that relationship. This is why all communication, especially feedback, is filtered through this crucial lens. How do I get my point across while protecting, or maybe even enhancing, the other person's mianzi? This comparison really highlights the fundamental difference in approach. In many Western cultures, directness is seen as a sign of honesty. We try to separate the person from the problem. But in a culture where mianzi is paramount, the person and the problem are deeply, deeply intertwined. A critique of your presentation can feel like a direct critique of your intelligence or your effort. So the goal shifts from getting to the point to maintaining harmony. Indirectness and subtlety, they aren't about being unclear. They are sophisticated tools for delivering a message respectfully and ultimately effectively. All right, now that we have the cultural why down, let's move from theory to practice. How do we actually structure our feedback to be both honest and respectful of Mianzi? Well, I'm going to give you a simple 3-step model that you can literally use in your very next peer review. We'll call this the praise, suggest, encourage model, and psychologically, it's brilliant because people tend to remember the first and the last things they hear. So you begin by giving face with genuine praise, and you end by offering that supportive branch, that 驱使, to build their confidence. The constructive suggestion, the 建议, is safely cushioned right in the middle. Let's see how this actually works.
Step 1. Praise. You could say with a big, genuine smile, 你的发音很标准，听起来很棒. Now, notice the specificity. You're not just saying good job. You're praising their pronunciation. Okay, let's get into the tones. In 很棒, we have 2 third tones back to back. Who remembers the rule? That's right. The first one pops up and becomes a second tone. So it's not a flat 很棒, it's a dynamic 很棒. See? That little detail makes a huge difference in how natural you sound. Okay, step 2 is the gentle suggestion. You'll want to deliver this in a thoughtful, almost quiet tone, kind of like you're thinking out loud. 如果在这里加一些例子，会不会更好? Now the key here is that A not A question form, 会不会, will or will not. This magically turns a command into a collaborative question. You're not saying, add examples. You're wondering aloud, I wonder if adding examples might make it even better. This gives the receiver total control and crucially protects their face.
And finally, step 3, encouragement. We end on a real high note. You can say with a lot of energy, 加油, which literally means add oil, like you're feeling a fire. Then you follow it with a statement of pure confidence. 下次肯定会更好. Next time will definitely be even better. This isn't just a phrase, it's a transfer of energy. You're ending the whole interaction by reaffirming your belief in their ability to 提高, to lift themselves higher. So let's zoom out. This framework, it isn't just some academic exercise to get you through a course. This is a fundamental skill for anyone who wants to build meaningful, effective relationships in a Chinese-speaking world, whether that's with your classmates, your future colleagues, or your friends. So, what are our key takeaways today? Well, first, that language and culture are 2 sides of the very same coin. You can memorize 1,000 characters and still be functionally illiterate in social situations. But if you master the concept of mianzi, you can build friendships, you can navigate complex negotiations, you can truly connect with people. I want you to see indirectness not as an efficiency, but as a sophisticated tool for maintaining respect and harmony. This will serve you absolutely everywhere. And that leads me to my final question for all of you. Take this concept of mianzi with you beyond this lecture hall. How might a deeper awareness of another person's dignity and their reputation, how might that change the way you communicate, even in your native language? It's something to think about. Thank you for your time and your attention today.